Welcome to the Mentor Assessment System. Assessment in Mentor is integrated directly with the course management system and our ePortfolio system. We're going to focus just on the assessment integration with course management for this particular video. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to define program level learning outcomes. And to do that, we set up on the organizational tree in Mentor a curricular program. Curricular programs are special on the org tree because they permit the definition of goals and objectives. So this is the undergraduate program, curricular program in our Dolan School of Business at Fairfield University. And this is the goals and objectives page, and these are the learning objectives that have been defined by the School of Business. These learning objectives are very easy to create. To add an objective, it's quite a simple form. Give it a name, select whether it's a sub-objective of an existing objective, select the goal that it's linked to, and perhaps an explanation. So it's a pretty simple thing to create objectives. Objectives can also have rubric traits associated with them, and so this is where we manage the definition of those rubric traits, and we'll see later how these rubric traits get used in doing program level assessment. It's very simple to create a rubric. I'll show you the edit form here. So we've got a name for the rubric trait, and then we have a scale. This happens to be a simple 3-point scale. It's got a brief descriptor and then the criteria, the sort of long description of what each level, each point on the scale means. Mentor does not limit you to the number of points you want on a scale. If you want a 10-point scale, 5-point scale, it's really just a question of how many points you want. Mentor also does not limit the number of traits that can be associated with the learning outcome. So a lot of flexibility. These rubric traits can also be used by faculty in grading their papers within the context of their courses. Now, I think this particular scale isn't the best scale for grading, but it's certainly possible to create analogs of these traits that have a richer scale that faculty then might want to use for grading. So a lot of flexibility in terms of rubrics and rubric traits and outcomes. Once these goals and objectives have been defined, these need to be mapped to courses. So the curricular program gets mapped to courses. So this is a list of individual courses to which this curricular program is mapped. And below that, we have some broader course mappings that map to specific subject codes and ranges of course numbers. So any course, AC course with a course number between 1 and 399 will be a part of this curricular program, and those goals and objectives are going to display in all AC courses with those course numbers, and so on. So you do the mapping once pretty much, and then you can leave it alone because your program typically doesn't change the ranges of course numbers. So that's what gets the learning outcomes into the courses themselves. Now, what we're going to do is actually go and look at how these objectives appear in a particular course. So I'm going to switch over to a different user who's in the School of Business, and we can see that. Okay, so we're in a School of Business faculty member's account. This is the guy who got me into this many years ago, so he's my usual guinea pig for demos. And he teaches this case studies in finance course, and we're going to go to his assignments page, and we're going to just pick on one of these assignments, and we're going to look at the outcomes and rubrics. So you can see here he has this is the same list of learning outcomes that we saw back on the curricular program. If I hold the mouse over one of these, you can see the definition. This is the definition that was entered in those forms. Comes straight out of the document that the faculty adopted when they adopted this set of learning outcomes. The check marks indicate that this particular assignment is linked to this particular learning outcome. It's very simple. The faculty just go in here, check a box, record their selection. You can see here Mentor's listing the number of rubric traits that are available for these learning outcomes. And if this instructor wanted to use those rubric traits to grade with, he could actually create a rubric simply by selecting the particular traits that he wants to use, giving them weights and so forth. And he could actually do this, use programmatically defined rubric traits in addition to those rubric traits that he might define for his course specifically. So that's how we establish. Let me go back into this just so you can see those check marks. Whoops, wrong. That's the grade sheet. Let's pick on the outcomes and rubrics. There we go. So these check marks, what essentially that does is it means that there's a learning outcome at the program level called critical thinking skills, and it's linked to this assignment, and hence it's linked to all of the student files that have been submitted for this assignment. And so when we get back to the program side, we can define assessment profiles that will randomly sample from this course and other courses those student files. We can define assessment profiles that will pick one or two sections and individual assignments and pull student files out. So there's a lot of flexibility in terms of how we actually construct a program assessment model. Okay, so having defined our program objectives and seen how those appear in courses and get linked to assignments, we're now going to go and look at the assessment profiles. So let's see, I'm in the wrong account here. Let's pause that. Sorry, I was still logged in as my colleague Michael, and so he didn't have the full list of programs. So because I'm administrator on the system here, I have access to all of the programs. Typically, a dean, associate dean, or member of an assessment committee is only going to see a couple of programs which they're involved in with. So I'm going to pick on undergraduate program, and this page is a list of assessment profiles. And so this is a series of assessments that we've done over the years. So the first thing I'm going to do is go to the goals and objectives page, and what this is going to do is show us for the current semester. This is spring 12, so this again is that same list of learning outcomes. And here we see the number of assignments that have been linked by faculty to these particular outcomes. So we get some quantitative data here right off the bat in terms of the number of assignments in any given semester. And of course we can go back to previous semesters and see, well, if we look at fall 11, there might be a few more because a lot of times faculty do that work towards the end of the term. So here in the fall 11, there were 227 assignments linked to critical thinking skills. So if we click on the map function for the critical thinking skills, Mentor is going to generate a curriculum map. Now I call this an empirical curriculum map because it's showing us where faculty have actually indicated in their assignments that those assignments are linked to this particular outcome, which is critical thinking skills. So we can see here for accounting 11, there are 18 assignments that are linked to this critical thinking objective. There are 15 sections, so that's basically a little over one assignment per section is linked to critical thinking. So we can see exactly where faculty have indicated in terms of their assignments that they're doing critical thinking, and we can do so across all of the subject codes in the school. Now, if I want to see just the accounting department, this chart is going to show us each learning outcome and where in the accounting curriculum that outcome is being addressed. So again, this is an empirical curriculum map that shows us where faculty indicate that they're doing this work. So let's go back, and we're going to just go to critical thinking here. This is one we did a while ago. And this profile is was set up in 2007, and it's assessing critical thinking. This profile was set up to do random selection. So based on the terms that we selected and some other parameters, Mentor is going to go and take out a random sample of student files. The profile has a chair. It has the members of the committee. These members are the ones who get access to the profile, access to the student files, so not just anybody can go in and see this random sampling. A profile can assess one learning outcome, or it can assess more than one learning outcome. So that's really up to the committee to decide how they want to do it. You can frame or limit the sampling to a set of terms, to subject codes. We can do it by undergraduate class year, juniors, seniors, etc. Course levels, that is, the sort of numerical ranges of courses. The type of assignment, there are a variety of types, assignment types that faculty select, and so we can limit the random selection to specific types of assignments, include or exclude group assignments, and so forth. So a lot of different variables that we can use to control the sampling. If we go to artifacts, this is the list of files that we actually selected for this assessment. We ended up with 33. And you can see here that the 5 or 6 members of the committee all assessed this particular file. And this is a comparison report, and it shows how each member of the committee scored the rubric for this particular file. And it gives us a chance to compare our scores and have a conversation about why we might differ in our judgments, whether the paper is exceeding, meeting expectations or not. So this is a real handy way to sort of norm a group of faculty on an assessment rubric. That rubric itself is right here. This I actually scored myself. So you can see this data here when it appears. So here's the rubric. It looks like other rubrics in Mentor. Very simple to just simply score these things. There is a summary at the top, but on this model of assessment, we're not really concerned with the individual student score, because this is a random sampling model, and so we're more interested in the program. So Mentor's keeping track over here of the initials of the individuals who have scored this rubric. We broke it into 2 groups, and that's why you're seeing the distribution of initials the way they are. And then once we're done with that, we simply go back here and we look at the results. And we're going to see here that the average score on each trait across all of those raters and all of those 33 student files. And so we see immediately where the students are doing well and where they're doing less well. It shouldn't be a surprise to anybody that students don't do quite as well on reasoning and creativity as they do on identifying and exploring issues. Below this is a sort of dump of the distributions of scores. Mentor will calculate an inter-rater reliability score, give you the average, standard deviation, and show you the distribution of scores on each point on the scale for that particular trait. You'll see that our inter-rater reliability score goes down as the students get better. I'm not particularly concerned that this is a low inter-rater reliability score, because we're really agreement that the students are meeting or exceeding. That's what if you take 40 and 54 together, it's 94% agreement that they're exceeding or they're meeting expectations. We're only disagreeing about whether they exceed or not. So that inter-rater reliability score, it needs to have some distribution data to be able to interpret it properly. So that's one model of assessment in Mentor. We have a number of other models, but I think that gives you an idea of the kind of assessment mechanisms that are in Mentor. We can define cohorts of students and track cohorts across different sections of different courses. We can map course outcomes to programmatic outcomes, define rubrics and push them into courses. We can create course templates with predefined assignments that push into courses. So there's a lot of flexibility in the assessment and curriculum management features of Mentor. So again, if you're interested with more information, look at our course management page. Also look at our ePortfolio page, because these same assessment tools are built in there. And send us an email or give us a call if you have questions. Thank you.